It's December 8th, 2022. My name is Jimmy Van, and this is KYN Live. My guest says his perfect OnlyFans page is men and women playing Snap but sexy. He considers Trader Joe's dark chocolate covered peppermint to be like crack, and he is a big fan of Pilk, which is Pepsi and milk. Don't know how I feel about that one. He is a popular Twitch streamer. This is Mills. Mills, how you doing, man?
Wait, first of all, you pick every food thing you could find about me. And listen, I'm a bigger guy, so I get it. But no one told me about these JoJo things. Like these JoJo, they're kind of like Oreos, I guess.
I guess.
They're literally dark chocolate crack. There's nothing you can do about it. They sell like 4 in a pack. And they only sell them around Christmas. It's terrible.
I'm Canadian, so I don't even think we have Trader Joe's up here. I don't think we do. And if I'm being completely honest, I've only heard of Trader Joe's because of like the guy from the Cosby Show that was working at one, and then he went viral. Do you remember hearing that story?
I heard briefly about it. I don't know the background around it. So if you know it, I'd love to hear it.
No, he was working at Trader Joe's. Somebody took his picture, they posted it on the internet, and went viral, and then he got acting gigs again. That's basically what happened. Yeah.
It's crazy that's how the world is now. Like
yeah.
You could just find some random celebrity and they rise right back into right where they were.
That's right. Yep. Well, here's what's going to happen. We're going to talk to KYN 7 of the top news stories of the week that are stupid, funny, or weird. I'm going to get your reactions, and I'll ask you questions along the way. And guys, you can send in your super chats if you want to get your question or statement read on the air. If you don't want to donate through YouTube, or if you can't watch the show live, you can go to kynchat.com, leave a question or statement anytime you want, and I will read it on the air. And Mills, I feel like a broken record saying this. Every week, in order to just get it whittled down to 7 stories, I have to get it down from like 30, 40 every week. It never ceases to amaze me, the shit that's out there, completely real, because I vet all of it. And so I got 7 good ones again. Are you ready to get going?
I am absolutely ready. I love stupid news.
Awesome. Well, then you're on the right podcast. Let's start with story number 7, reported by WPLG Local 10. Okay, so there's a man that went into a clothing store and I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Hialeah, Florida. He stole some items and he left the store without being detected by employees. They caught him on video surveillance committing the theft, and the video of it has people wondering how the hell did store employees possibly miss this guy? And so my question for you is, what was it about this robbery that makes you wonder how they missed him?
Not only how did they miss him, but like the way things go nowadays, employees are told flat out, don't get in front of them. I'm wondering now if employees are just kind of like, hey, I'm over here right now. I'm not going to really worry about this side. Just let him go. And the other part of this is it's Florida. So you don't want to be the next big story that comes out of Florida involved in it. So maybe you're just trying to be like, I'm good.
Maybe, but in this case, the reason people are wondering how the hell did not employees supposedly not see him, this guy stole so much shit that he had to drag it out of the store behind him using both hands. And here's a picture from surveillance. Look at that.
Oh, no, that's Florida Santa. You didn't know that? Like it is the time of year. That's all he is. He's just getting ready.
How the hell? He stole so much shit. He was stuffing items into the bags that he stole. He was putting stuff down his pants. He had stuff like under his arms, dragging it out there. Nobody noticed. And so I was going to ask you, and you've already kind of said it. Do you think just nobody gave a shit? They're just like, farewell, have fun?
It has to be, because I'm tired just looking at that picture. Like, dragging that much stuff behind me, I don't make it to the door. I'm asking for help halfway through the store. But, like, that dude, and that was fair, that dude looks like he's a little big. Like the tattoos of the forearm, I'm like, you know what, brother? Whatever you need to do, just take it with you. I'm good. I'm good over here.
I'd love to know his thought process. Like, he's thinking, I'm going to go into this store, and I'm going to steal 50,000 purses, and I'm just going to stroll out the front door. So he's probably whistling as he did it. You know what I mean?
If he's on Tinder, he's making all kinds of bucks. Like one for every date. That's what it is. And that's the other thing too. Like it doesn't look like he's picking for himself. He's absolutely picking for everybody else. So what you're going in there, you're risking your livelihood to walk out with what? A ton of purses?
Yeah, maybe he's an eBayer.
I can see that. Absolutely. eBay.
Yeah.
eBay, what is it? Facebook Marketplace, all kinds of great things nowadays.
Yeah.
He's the next Gary V. We just don't know it yet.
Maybe that's how Gary V got started. Yeah. That's the dirty little secret we don't know.
There's no buy lower than free, so
So every story that we do, I try to ask a question that's somehow related to it. And so my question for you with this one, are you the type, if you have a lot of shit to carry, are you the type that will make multiple trips because you want to make it easier on yourself, or are you the type that you're going to try to stack things up, you're going to load up every finger, you're going to put stuff under your arms, you're going to do what you can to get it all out there in one shot?
I will make sure that my fingers are bloody purple grapes to make sure that I have every single bag. The thing around here is where I live, they just changed where they're not allowed to do plastic bags anymore. It's paper bags. So now
Ah.
stacking those up or trying to like poke a hole. I don't know if anyone's ever tried this. You can poke finger holes in the side of like paper bags, and if you're really careful, carry them. But it's nothing like old school grocery bags. But no, I want one trip every time, nothing else.
I'm with you. I'm with you. Like I'm the guy. If I go to the store with my wife, I basically tell her when we get home, load me up, and I basically just hold it on my fingers like that. I'm totally with you. Yeah.
And she tried, and the other part of this is she'll try to pick stuff up, and I'm like, no, go open the door. I have all of this. The back of this SUV. This is mine. Go do the door. I'll be fine. And as I'm tripping going up the stairs to the door, I realize I've made a huge mistake.
We're on the same wavelength. You and
Yeah.
I. We're on the same page. Let's go on to story number 6, reported by Auto Evolution. And I didn't know that this was a crime, but it doesn't make sense, you know? So, police in Asti, Italy, they announced the completion of what they called Operation Little Horse, which resulted in the arrest of a 26-year-old man who was the owner and driver of a red Ferrari F430. And we got a pic of the car. Here's a pic of the Ferrari. There it is right
Damn.
there. Yeah, there it is right there. So my question for you is, why did police arrest this guy?
Obviously jealousy. It's 100% jealousy. You're driving around in probably a motor scooter, maybe a moped in Italy for their police. They went over and went, "Oh, come on, man!" One knows that you're coming with me, and the guy probably behind the wheel going, "Yeah, I get it. I'm good."
10 years for jealousy is what this
10
guy's going to
years.
get. Yeah. Well, the reality is the reason that he was arrested, that is not a Ferrari. That is a Toyota MR2 coupe that he modified to make it look like a Ferrari. And here is a pic of the Toyota MR2 coupe. So that is a pic of the car that he actually has. He put logos and badges on it. He put the front and rear hood, the rims, the wheel arches, and other parts from a Ferrari onto the Toyota to make it look like a Ferrari. It's considered trademark infringement, especially if he tries to sell it. And of course, they're in Italy, and Ferrari is an Italian car, so they're not fucking around. The pic that Joel just put up right there, that shows you some of the stuff that he modified on his Toyota. So you can see the wheel and you can see the badges and you can see the logos and you put all that shit on the Toyota to make it look like a Ferrari. What do you think? Do you think like A for effort, or do you like, what do you think? Maybe like little dick syndrome? What do you think what
That's
do you
a
think the situation?
that's a work of art. Like that's one of those things. You're pulling down the street. You're like, "Man, I'm ready to go," and you turn and you go, "Holy shit! There's a Ferrari next to me." Like that's a perfect pass off, and it's beautiful. That bright red color. Like 100%. This dude should not be. This dude should be somewhere like the Louvre fixing things. Like, he shouldn't be in jail in Italy.
What about if he's at a light and somebody wants to race him and he knows that he's got the guts of a Toyota? You know what I
I
mean?
mean, 100%. You gear that thing. You do the old school. See if the cop's up there, and when you see the cop up there, you gear it up. You put it in neutral, and then you do what I forget what movie it was. It's like an '80s movie. He jams it reverse and goes backwards while the other guy flies by the cop. Backwards at about 5 miles an hour, mind you.
Right, yeah. Yeah, well, good for him. I don't know how much time he's going to get, but I can understand, especially in Italy, they're not going to screw around with a brand like Ferrari. It kind of makes sense. My question for you with this one, have you ever modified anything to make it look like something else? Could be anything. Have you ever modified anything?
I've never see the thing is I've never been a visual artistic type. I've always been like engineering, like that kind of stuff. Like I've modified computers at times, but like I've never gone so far as to be like, listen, I've got this, piece of shit, and what I'd really like to make it look like is the Mona Lisa. And, maybe if I pour it on something. I've never had that talent, unfortunately. But this dude, they should put him to work in prison. Like, some people make like license plates.
Uh-huh.
He should literally be making cars for Ferrari out of prison.
In prison.
Yeah, for sure.
What about the people that like if they buy the watch on Canal Street in New York? You know what I'm talking about?
Absolutely, yeah. That's not a
20 but
Rolex.
yeah, exactly, yeah. So are you, so because I've always been the type, so I don't wear watches anymore, but when I did, when I was younger and cared more, I'd be very straight up. If I had a Breitling and it was from Canal Street, I'd say I got this on Canal Street.
Yeah, 100% be like, listen, this is a Rofex. Like, I fully understand. I get it. No, like, and the funny thing is, and whenever you show it off, you're like, yeah, look at my Rofex over here. Like, you're never like, hey, what's going on? You know what I mean?
Exactly. All right, reminder, guys, get in your super chats if you want to get your question or statement right on the air, or if you don't want to do it through YouTube, or if you can't watch the show live, go to kynchat.com, leave a question or statement anytime you want, and we will read it on the air. All right, Mills, let's go on to story number 5. This is one of those shows where I can tell it's going to just go by really, really fast because you're an awesome guest at this. Story number 5, reported by Wales Online. So, a 52-year-old man in England, his name is Michael Turner. He caused a reported 48,000 pounds worth of damage to a hotel room while he was under the influence of drugs. And we got pics of some of the damage. Look at this. Here's some of the, and this is from like one night in a hotel. So here's pics of some of the damage that this dude caused in this hotel.
Jesus.
Yeah, this guy had a little bit of fun. Police were called and they arrested Mr. Turner when they got there. And when they confronted him, what do you think Michael Turner had to say for himself?
Hi, I'm the lead singer. You don't have to worry about me. Worry about the bassist that's in the other room. Because that's exactly what this is. This is English rock star kind of action. 48,000 might be on the cheap side compared to what some of them could have done.
It's possible.
Yeah.
Well, in order to tell you what his response was to the cops, here's Bart Simpson to tell you what he said. Go ahead, Joel.
I didn't do it.
He said he didn't do it. Michael Turner, with all that shit destroyed, and he's in the hotel room, he said he didn't do it, but of course he did, and he got arrested, and we got his mugshot. Here's this winner. I don't think he's part of a band. What do you think, Mills? Probably not.
No, maybe one from like the 70s or 60s.
Maybe from the 70s.
Drugs change things a little bit as you age. I've heard.
Right.
My question is how do you stand at the doorway of like Hurricane Katrina behind you and be like, I didn't do this, like without having like another, like have a dog or something, have a scapegoat somewhere behind you, but don't stand there and be like, no, that wasn't me. The door was locked all night. It was like the spirits of room 1805 or something. I don't even know.
You remember the scene from The Naked Gun where there's like absolute chaos happening and Leslie Nielsen standing there going, nothing to see here, nothing to see, and it's absolute carnage behind him? Kind of sort of the same thing.
Fantastic movies. And to be honest, this dude could pass off in a little Naked Gun action. I could see him being like the third or fourth extra that gets arrested as he goes in. You're right? He's high on meth.
Yeah, high in something. He was high in something. If you're in his position, if you're in the hotel room and the cops are coming and the place is just a shit show, do you roll the dice and say it wasn't you, or do you face the music?
I own up to it immediately. And I take the pictures and put them online myself.
Right.
I'm like, you know what? I did this. I own up to it. Put me away for a couple months. We're good. Find me. But guess what? This is what happens when you mess with me. Okay, this is what happens. You walk around, no one messes with you anymore. You walk around with a big chest and you're good with it.
Well, especially the people in jail, you want to let them know too.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's kind of important.
No. You go in there and be like, listen, this is what I did to a room. My soap is on the floor. I'm grabbing it, okay?
And I'm doing it in slow motion.
Right?
Yeah. So, have you ever caused damage to a public place?
So, when I was a teenager learning how to drive, I drove my car into the side of a house.
Oh.
A dog actually ran out in the middle of the street. It was a suburban neighborhood, and I was doing about 40 down like a 25. No big deal.
Oh, did you hit the house at 40?
No, I was slamming on the brakes as I went up the hill. I popped up a hill and hit the front of the house and bumped in just a little bit, caused a ton of damage that I had to eventually pay some for. The family was understanding because it was the next door neighbor's dog across the street, and I didn't hit the dog. So that was the big thing. But like, it was the worst experience of my life. I was sitting there like, wow. Oh my God, because I was sitting there with the front of this sedan in this house, and I'm like, oh my God, what have I done? And this family is like from the kitchen screaming. So yeah, I've caused damage, not like drug induced damage, thankfully, but I've
Uh-huh.
caused damage before.
Was it your parents' car?
No. This was a brand new used car, brand new to me. It was a
Uh-huh.
used car that I had for about 3 months. It was
Oh
like a
shit.
little Chevy Cavalier, and just whoosh. Yep.
Wow. But it wasn't a Chevy Cavalier that you like souped up to make look like a Ferrari.
No, this one looked like a Cavalier.
It looked like
Everyone knew that I
Cavalier.
spent zero on it.
All right, let's go on to story number 4, reported by WNDU 16 News Now. These stories, man, it's good stuff. So, a man attempted to rob a Walmart in St. Cloud, Florida, but of course, his timing wasn't the best and he was easily caught. So, my question for you, Mills, why was he so easily caught at that Walmart?
Again, we're talking Florida.
This is Florida, always
Where
Florida.
where do you want to start? The alligator stopped him from leaving, maybe like the pet goat grabbed a hold of something and he couldn't drag it out. When it comes to Florida, you don't understand. When it comes to Florida, it could be anything, and it's more normal than probably I walk down the street and turn myself in.
Well, in this case, this guy decided that he was going to steal from the place during an annual event that they call Shop with a Cop. And we got a mugshot of this dude. Here is this superstar right here. Now, Shop with a Cop, just so people understand, it is a community event that happens across the US and Canada where uniformed police officers, okay, they're not in civilian clothing, uniformed police officers, they buy gifts for children. So this guy walked into a Walmart with uniformed police officers around and he thought, what a great time to steal some shit. And the pictures that we're putting up here, this is from a variety of Walmarts across the US and Canada that were doing Shop with a Cop. And you can clearly see that the officers are uniformed. And this dude decided he wanted to steal some shit. What do you think of this brilliance, Mills?
So I would give him a pass under one condition. If it's Halloween, you walk in there and go, okay, this must be some kind of crazy thing going on. It's very clearly Christmas in these pictures. Like you walking in, it's like you're walking in, you see cops dressed there, okay? You're going, you know what? This is the day. This is the day. You know what? I need to, again, pay for my meth in some way. So I'm walking out with everything. And guess what? I'm going to do it in spite of the 100 cops here because I'm pretty evidently, I'm invisible to everything.
Yeah, I mean, this was not Halloween. This was like recent. So this was like
Right.
during the holiday time. And so I was trying to think to myself, okay, maybe there was only one cop there. Maybe,
No.
but they do media for this shit. You know what I mean? Like they got reporters and cameras and stuff there too.
Well, that's
So
the next thing. Forget the cops. If there's reporters there, are you really trying to go on and rob anything where you could be very clearly on camera? And
right,
those cops, it's like there was one cop every every couple of miles.
right,
There's very clearly multiple police officers everywhere,
yes.
almost holding hands like they're searching the forest for a missing child. You're not getting out of there with anything.
No, totally agree. Yeah. So if somebody came up to you, let's say you're at a Walmart and somebody came up to you and they said, "All right, you can buy one item, anything you want, go get it." What would that one item be?
I mean, the normal answer is go to the electronics and find something really expensive, right? Something massive. But like Walmart has this Christmas section that has these little like felt birds. Like Target has them too. I want you to because I was in a Walmart once and missed these birds and was forever tarnished by my significant other who collects them. So if I walk in there and I have my rights to anything because they sell out in like a minute, I'm grabbing one because I fend for my own life. This is self-defense at this point. So that's what I'm getting every time. Matter of fact, you sent it from the Walmart like super office down to me. So to make sure I don't get killed when I come home. Because if I come home with another big TV, I am going to be out on my ass.
Uh-huh. So is this like the Cabbage Patch doll of like, what'd you say, felt bird?
They're like little felt birds. They used to have them at Target. Now Walmart has like a run of them, and she likes cute little holiday like floral animals and stuff. So when she collects them, if I don't check whenever I go somewhere, She knows. She's like, oh, when you went to Walmart, did you check on the birds? And I went, no, I didn't. I forgot the birds. I was going in for like a soda and like a t-shirt. And she was like, oh no, you need to go back. And I'm like, oh, okay, I got it. Listen, I know where my place is, and my place is making sure that I find these things for her, and I'm at least checking, even to the point where I'm taking pictures of the empty shelf now, so that way I'm safe.
Wow. So she has a checklist of birds. There's a checklist.
She does. Yeah, it's the new Beanie Baby, I swear.
Is that right? Interesting.
Yeah, right?
Interesting. Did they go up in value like Beanie Babies did?
I have no idea. But I can't argue. As you can see behind me, like I collect like action figures and statues and stuff. So like I can't really argue with her. Because all she does is point like around this entire setup of the things that I have. So
I'm with you. I got the whole WWFL Jan set in cabinets to my left over here. I'm with you. All right.
About.
Final reminder, guys, go to get in your super chats to have your question or statement read on the air, or go to kynchat.com. Leave a donation at any time to get your question or statement read on the show. Let's move on to story number 3. Oh, you're going to like this one. I can already tell. Reported by KATC ABC3. So police in Franklin, Louisiana. So we're straying away from Florida for a change. Police in Franklin, Louisiana, they arrested a 70-year-old man named Lee Segura after he was spotted nude sunbathing on the roof of a house. Now, this wasn't their first run-in with this guy. And in fact, Mr. Lee Segura is somewhat of a local celebrity for his antics at parades and festivals. And so my question is, what is it that 70-year-old Lee Segura is known for there in Franklin, Louisiana?
If it's not walking around in a trench coat and literally like flashing himself, I'm going to be disappointed at this point.
So it's not, but I don't think you'll be disappointed. So he pole dances on the street under the name Joe Lee, the Dancing Cowboy, and we got video courtesy of Nicole Hottinger on Facebook. Check this out.
No.
It's Cowboy Joe Lee. Really?
Yeah, so nude sunbathing and lewd pole dancing at festivals. Police know this guy, but do you think that this is just all in good fun or requires a police presence?
No. He's a national treasure. He's good. He's okay. He was nude sunbathing for one very clear reason. Tan lines.
Yeah, you had to get ready.
You don't wear stuff like that in the French Quarter. Like, listen, there's crazy stuff in the French Quarter. Everyone that's been there has seen there is some insanity in the French Quarter. So this man, again, I'm designating him as Louisiana's, like, he's historic now. You can't tear him down. He is worth every penny. He can nude sunbathe wherever he needs to. He's good.
If anything, they should just yell out his name, Joe Lee, and then he waves, and then they keep walking, basically.
Hey, look, the cops know me. I'm okay.
You know the Simpsons episode where they're in Australia and they're looking to talk to the mayor, and the mayor's like in a pond on a tube, and they're like, "Hey, Andy!"
Yep.
That's basically Joe Lee.
No, he's okay. We know he's nude. He's okay. Just make sure the house is taller than the houses next to him.
So I'm almost afraid to ask this question, but I'm going to ask, have you ever caused a scene by singing or dancing or doing something else in a public place?
All the time.
Really?
So I have an inverted I'm an introverted personality, but I invert that. So my defense mechanism is to be the scene. So I have a problem with that wherever I go, I'm a little louder than I probably should be. I'm not like absurd all the time, but I do kind of like the spotlight once in a while. So
fascinating.
It can be, bars, especially sporting events. Sporting events, I have a problem. I'm not one of those guys that's like, I won't curse out like a kid or anything like that, but I like my team. I don't like the other team. And if you're here as a visiting fan, you are my best friend until the start of the game and after the game. Between those two the start and end point, you are literally Hitler. So you might as well.
That's pretty strong. That's what they are.
I'm keeping it topical, okay? So
Okay.
there we go.
Okay,
You are
okay.
literally the worst person in the world, so we're good to go, okay?
So basically, from the time, are you talking a football game? From the time you hear the first whistle, Kanye West is sitting next to you, basically.
No,
until...
we're not going that far. Hold on, wait. Let's change up here.
I don't see you being the introverted type. Like you're good at and like just winging it and improvisational, and you know what I mean. It's hard for me to figure it out.
I've been Twitch streaming for about 6 years. It's changed a lot, which is crazy because I start like most of the Twitch streamers you see start like in their 20s. I started in my mid 30s,
right?
And it is changed the way I get to see things. And granted, it's a camera and not like a group of people, but even like public speaking, it's changed a ton for me recently. And it's actually changed a lot for me in terms of being able to be open in public too. It's been cool.
Very interesting. Maybe someday we'll have like some Fightful convention, and I'm gonna have you out there just to sit with you at a wrestling show because I'll be curious. I'll be curious, you know.
I went to Monday Night Raw in DC this past week. It was a show.
So were you sitting next to the guy rooting for your most hated performer?
I was sitting in a suite.
Oh, well.
No.
Excuse me, sir.
No, it's not like that. It's not like that. I was sitting in a suite where I was the one screaming at, Becky Lynch for the main event. So we're good.
Got it.
I'm the guy that's not supposed to be there.
Aha.
Yeah.
Amazing. All right, let's go on to story number 2, reported by the Oregonian. So police in Portland, Oregon, they're looking for 2 people who stole an ATM from a convenience store after backing their van right through the front windows. And we got a clip of this courtesy of the Portland police. Check this out. There they are right there throwing it through the front of the store. And then they're going to run out. And I'm playing this just for an extra minute because I want to show you the guy that clearly needs a belt. So there they are coming out. They got to lift up that ATM machine, try to get that thing into the back of the van. And yeah, there comes the plumber there helping up the other dude. So after they got the ATM out of there, because even though they look like bumbling idiots, they got the ATM out of there. After they did it, it was time to crack it open, right? You got to get the ATM open. So my question for you is, what happened next?
Well, very apparently, the guy just stood there with his pants around his ankles and said, "You know what? I don't think I can open this. We're good. You know what? He gets arrested for indecent exposure in public. They ignore the ATM. They just take him for that.
That might have been a better solution for them. So they get the ATM into the van. They take off. They decided to park in the parking lot of a church, took out a welding torch while the thing's in the back of the van, and the van caught fire as a result. And here is a clip of these guys, courtesy of KATU News. Look at this. So they're in the parking lot. Look at this. He's using the welder in the back of the whoosh. Thing catches fire. They're running out like, oh shit. It's like incinerating the van. So they start dumping shit out. Okay, because now the back of the van's on fire. So they start dumping shit out. They ended up absolutely destroying the van. And so they abandoned it and they took off. Look at the van right here. Look at that. From trying to use a welding torch on the ATM. So what do you think? Pretty well thought out plan? What do you think, Mills?
Listen, it's a great plan up to one point. You don't cross Jesus.
Right.
You don't take it to the church parking lot. Take it under a bridge somewhere. Take it where all the other sin is. But don't take it to a church parking lot. The best case scenario is Jesus walks out and says, "Son, stop that." The worst case is it's one of these horror movies starts where you're the bad guy. And the bad guy in the beginning of a horror movie, it doesn't end well for anybody in that situation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
well, what about you? Have you, and no, I'm not going to ask you if you stole an ATM from a convenience store. Have you ever had to break into anything after accidentally locking yourself out of it?
The old smash and grab, you mean? Yeah, no, plenty of those. Actually, what's funny is my house here has a double glass door in the back, but the original fence before I replaced it did not have a gate back there. So I walked out the back door and locked myself out.
Oh.
So, but the fence is like 8 feet tall. I can't get out of the backyard. So I literally had to, I hate this, but I had to football tackle my way through my doors, broke them inwards because I had
Ooh.
no other way of doing anything because I had the only key at the time. I just moved in like the first couple of months, and I'm lackadaisical in my responsibilities. But yeah, I went through it, cut my shoulder up, and then had to replace the door, the frame, and a little bit around it too. Needless to say, it was not my most tactical response.
So okay, so I'm trying to envision. So where was the key? Was it in the house?
The key was sitting. It's on my car key.
Oh, it was
So,
on
but
your car key.
yeah, it's the car key, like a whole keychain. It was
Yeah,
just in the
yeah.
normal spot. I wasn't leaving my house. I went out into my backyard and didn't realize that I had locked the door, and I
Right.
couldn't break the glass around the handle because the
Uh-huh.
glass I couldn't reach in like that. So I said,
Uh-huh.
"Oh, I got to take the door out. The
Oh
door's got to
shit.
go."
Shit.
And yeah, and at the
No
time I
cell
was like,
phone, and like,
"No, no,
was your girlfriend or wife wasn't
everything."
kicking around?
Nope, everything was in the house or gone. The problem is that I at the time was like, you know what? I bet you I could just bust one of these doors. I'm not going to replace everything. Maybe the one door and the hinge. I can do that, no problem. I'm handy. Nope, both doors, glass, frame, hinge, everything, all on the inside because the doors open outwards.
Right.
So yeah, not fun.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow. The things I learn about people on this podcast, you
yeah,
know?
man, it's just not good.
All right, it is time already for story number one. I could have done 10 of these, man, but it's time for story number one already, reported by KidSpot. Okay, so a mother in Queensland, Australia, her name is Nicole. She was busy wrapping presents for Christmas, and then she realized that she's doing it, that she had a problem. And so my question for you is, what was the issue that she discovered while she was wrapping her Christmas presents?
Has to be some bug that's bigger than like my head, right? Some massive like wolf spider or something. It's Australia. Like the sand can kill you in Australia. Something is deadly in that wrap, right?
So she accidentally purchased X-rated wrapping paper, and we got pictures. Let's see this, Joel. So there you see the reindeers are doing it over there. There you see that the carrot is in the wrong spot on the snowman.
Mm-hmm.
And keep in mind, she purchased this to wrap gifts for her children. So now she had a good laugh over it. She's not an offended type of person. Had a good laugh over it, but she had to find a solution. So she ended up getting creative with the labels. Check out a picture of what she did. There she is, right there. That was her solution to the problem. So it wasn't too bad. Now, have you ever given or received a gift intended for adults while in the presence of children?
So I gave my girlfriend a Christmas gift that was meant for us in front of my mother, my brother, and his family. It was let's just come out with it, So the little remote control like buzzers, right? We won't tell you what they buzz. The ones that buzz your hand, sure. Yes, I it was supposed to be our gift, and we were giving gifts afterwards. We were giving gifts to each other Christmas night. Well, I had a bunch of boxes. They were in bags. I'm terrible at wrapping. Everything's in the same wrapping paper, which will never happen again. And yeah, she opened it in front, and then one of the kids grabbed it from her and took it to my brother and was like, "Hey, what is this? What is this?" And I was like, "No, we're not going to talk about that one." And then immediately afterwards, once the kids were gone, I was like, "Yep, she'll be fine later. Don't worry. I won't even have to be in the room for it."
Fascinating.
Yeah.
So what did your mom think it was?
My mother, family dinner in the old Mills household with Mama Mills has always turned sexual every single time. To the point where my mother at a Thanksgiving dinner when I was 20, I think it was 3 or 4. I've told this story on stream a couple times. I threatened to show off my manhood because it was questioned. And she grabbed me, put me up on the counter with the strength of 10 men, and then swooped a knife out of nowhere and I almost was a eunuch.
Questioned by who?
Was questioned by my brother.
I see.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
My brother and I were talking back and forth because I had an old girlfriend there. He had an old girlfriend there. And like we were all, it always goes to, I'm bigger than you. Oh, I know how to use it, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, no, sure. And I threatened to take it out and show. And my mom was like, "Don't do that." And I was like, "It's happening." My mom literally Undertaker style, one hand up on the top rope and then said, "Knife, groin, are you done?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I'm okay. I'm dead serious." My mother lifted me up like she was saving me from a burning bus.
I always have to find a clip from these podcasts for like Twitter promotion, and my video editor is always like, "Hey, what do you want to use this week for the clip for Twitter promotion?" And sometimes I got to think about it. This is an easy one.
Easy one. Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep. I've told that story with my mother in my Twitch stream watching me. Like, and
really?
she owns up to it. That's the difference. She's not embarrassed by it. She said, "I will do it again." My mother is all of 78 years old right now, and says she will do it again without question.
And I believe her.
Yeah,
I believe her.
That's why I don't screw off anymore.
Good to know. Anymore. All right. I want to thank our guest, Mills. This has been a lot of fun. Mills, tell the people what you're doing and where they can find you.
I'm just streaming video games over on twitch.mills.com, twitch.tv/Mills, and putting out terrible takes on Twitter at Mills Twitch.
That's going to do it for KYN Live. Tune in next Thursday at 3 o'clock Eastern Time for more silliness that's totally real. And until then, bye for now. Thanks a lot, man. This is fun.
Oh, awesome. Anytime, Jim.